Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome back. Welcome to. I appreciate the support either way. My name is Joe Josh. I go by iChart Daily. Follow me on X, the iChart Daily. Today is Cuzzies, December 4th, 2025. In today's video, not financial advice, but it's time to give back and show how grateful I am of this community, the likes, the comments, the shares, the subs. I see it growing, and I appreciate it. So to show you how grateful I am of your support, I posted 7 days ago. My next video should be about. Leave it in the comments. Blah, 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 blah. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a thank you. Thank you to you guys for participating, and I will go over my thoughts on all of those topics. So let's just go into it. If you're new to the channel, I've been doing technical analysis for almost 2 decades. I've charted and traded crypto for almost 10 years now, multiple halvenings. I was originally taught technical analysis by my father, who was an options trader for almost 20, 30 years for Stratton Oakmont, and I have taken crypto, technical analysis, AI, and my process and fine tune it like a ninja samurai. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over my process, my thought process, what am I thinking, what am I looking for, and give you as much information as possible to help you understand um, where support, where's there's room, etc., etc. Once again, I have to give you my opinion, and my opinion means like I don't own any of the asset. So when you leave these things, the best thing to do is to give me information. Like I hold it, not sure what to do, and I'm around break even. Now I have a better understanding of your situation. And what I mean by that is there's different situations, right? Is this your first time getting into crypto? Have you been in crypto and you have large bags and you've never taken profit and you don't know what to do? Um, have you bought at the top and now you're down and you need the money? Like there's so many different situations that I could answer differently, if that makes sense. So Bitcoin, let's go into Bitcoin because you have to. 60% of the market share is just in this one asset. Unfortunately, whatever she does has too much of a gravitational pull for the rest of the altcoins. When this number changes with a different coin, if we're looking at XRP's dominance at 70% or Solana's dominance at 60, 65%, then guess what? We'll be looking to see what that coin does first, then what the alts do. As of right now, Bitcoin is the one that has the majority of the market share. You got to see what it does. So we went right to the 21-day moving average on the monthly chart. We went right to the 50 line on the RSI, and we have death crossed, showing us that momentum is not on our side. And if we were to have a dead cat bounce, we would have a very high probability of going sideways because of the MACD in a death cross structure, and because it's above the zero line, and because we've gotten market structure on the longer time frame, which now I'll go to the 2 month. We've broken the 70 on the RSI, we've broken the moving average, and now we have room to bleed until we're extremely oversold. So once again, 2 month candles take a very long time to print, and you could have little waves within the larger wave. We're just trying to see if the little waves now do dead cat bounces and form lower highs. And what I mean by that is we are extremely oversold. We are extremely oversold on the RSI, and we have room to go back to the moving average, which also lines up with the 50 line, which is bearish in my eyes, because if we get rejection by the moving average, that's bearish, we stay below it. And if we get rejection from the 50 line, that's bearish, we remain in section B. Once again, section B is below 50 and above the 30, and you usually have continuations to the downside, and you see rejection from the moving average. But unfortunately, and I say that in a weird way, if Bitcoin has an 8 to 11 to potentially 17 to 20% chance to go to the upside, your alts are going to have a huge pump, and that's what I think potentially could happen. I do want to leave Bitcoin with this. If we don't make a higher high to this price here, and we potentially do something like this again here, where the price comes down, comes back up, we break it a little bit, but come back down and continue to form hidden bearish divergence, where if this wave goes up, but we make another lower high on your MACD and we make another lower high on your RSI, that is not a good sign. That fuels the 2-month chart to officially break down. We all know, I've gone over it many times, when the 2-month chart death crosses and the 2-month chart there's 4 confirmations that I look for. Death cross, golden cross on the MACD, where? Death cross, golden cross on the RSI, where? Death cross, golden cross on the stochastic RSI, where? That helps me understand where the asset is going to up here. So if this death crosses, this already death crossed, and if this officially breaks below the 80 line, both lines, we are going way lower and we're going to about 70,000. We're going to touch the 21-day moving average on the 2-month chart. But you can see here that's not usually the bottom, but that is once again steps on the way down. So what I'm looking for on the shorter time frames, like I said in my last video, and I have another video coming out with Altcoin Buzz, is I'm looking for Bitcoin to stay flat and stay above 85,000, potentially stay flat and not break 95,000 until we see the RSI do another bounce on the moving average. As you can see now, we went up, right? We did this, higher low, higher high, okay? We did this, This high broke this high. This low broke this low. We now went up to the 50, got rejected, made a higher high. I would like to see it come back down, use the moving average, and make lower low. Then we have a continuation to the upside. I still have my alert set here at the 50 line, notifying me that on the daily chart, the candles will have a continuation to the upside and officially break above and stay above the 90 to 92,000. Now, what I do like playing out on the shorter time frame is we're still in the golden cross structure. We're still above the moving average, even though it's below the 50. And your stochastic RSI is still above the 80 line. This is your first indicator to let you know that the momentum of the current swing is changing the other way. As long as we do death crosses, golden crosses, death crosses, golden crosses, and stay above the 80, the asset will continue to stay above the 11 and 21-day moving average and continue to the upside. As of right now, we're in a little coil situation. We to see what plays out over the next day or two. So that's what I think happens. And I think eventually we form this bottom and then we break to the upside. And like I said, I would like to go back to the moving averages, which line up. I've been saying it for a very long time. These ranges right here. I'm going to use what was resistance and support in the past and what was support and resistance in the past here. So you're looking at like 100 to 106,000. And then once again on the indicators, I'll end it with this, right? We go back up and this continues to do this. Okay. This continues to do this. This does this. And this does something like that, but like a higher low. That's Bitcoin. Now let's get into it. Bounce targets for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana in next 1 to 3 months. I just gave you Bitcoin. Bounce prices, I'd like to say above 85. Take profits are going to be, I mean, from here, it's already overbought a little bit. I'd wait for it to come down. Or that's what I'm saying. Did you buy at these levels? Did you not buy at these levels? Is this your first time buying now? Did you buy back at 15,000, 17,000 when I told you? Did you buy at 20,000? So as of right now, I can only give you at 92.5 where the price is at. Right now, you're looking at about 8 to roughly 15% if and when it does go back in the next month or two. Speculation, but once again, when you have experience in the game, you could speculate better than someone who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. And what I mean by that is my birthday is March, tax season is March. For the longest time, I've always remembered. I mean, once again, this is just finance 101. If you have something and own something for over a year and it's tax time and your accountant's like, did you buy anything? Do you want to sell anything? Do you want to pay any taxes on anything? Long-term capital gains is way better than short-term capital gains. So anyone buying from 17.5, 15.5, 13.5 and understands, or has someone in their corner on telling them like, yo, it's a better time to be taking profit than to be putting in the asset right now, just because of what I'm seeing play out, the time frame, how long it's been from the halvening, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People usually will, if we do have another pump and we make that lower high, you might see larger portfolios take profit at those levels. Um, So once again, over the next 1, 2, 3 months, if Bitcoin goes back to 102 to eventually 110,000, that's where I think the next take profit is. That also fuels a head and shoulders, which leads into March, which leads us to break down of the 80 something thousand, eventually then lead to the 56 to the 70,000. And once again, March for some reason is just because it's tax season. It's like the start of the bearish times around there, right? Um, Solana bounce target. So we're here now. I did make a video previously. I think we go back to the moving averages, right? If we turn off everything, the first thing I look at is I go to a monthly time frame. I zoom in on this baby, and I just look to see where there's previous buy and sell levels, right? So obviously you could see previous buys here around this 120 to eventually like where we are now. So I was looking at this previous 120 to 133 level is where you want to be accumulating your Solana in this run. Now, most people will say, all right, well, we could come back up to here and we could come back up to here and then we could come back up to like here, right? Now, the only thing is you need to justify it breaking previous highs with going with the indicators. Like if we're in a death cross structure, you shouldn't expect your asset to make a higher high. That's just not the way it goes. You want to be in a golden cross structure. You want your asset, your RSI above the moving average and in section A. You want your stochastic above the 50 and a golden cross structure. And then you're seeing month after month after month after month after month of green candles. As of right now, if I could tell you anything, right? If you just turn this on and you say, well, we're in a death cross structure, that's not great. Well, we're below the moving average on the RSI, that's not great. And we're below the 50 line in the death cross structure on the stochastic RSI, that's not great. Solana still needs to prove itself that the 120 to 130 level is the bottom. And what I mean by that, it needs to stay there longer and needs to allow the weekly, the 5-day, the 2-week to form that bullish structure. As of right now, your stochastic, like I said, everything that I look for, the confirmations happen on every time frame. It's just when they happen on certain time frames, they predict either bull and bear markets on the monthly and 2-month, huge swings on the weekly, basic swings, 5 to 8 days, like 6 to 2 weeks on the daily and 2-day, and your micro swings on the hourly. They all happen all the time. Golden cross, death cross, where? RSI, where? Stochastic, where? Now, we're trying to figure out the longer time frame looks like poop, right? The 2-month doesn't have that much data, but we're in a death cross, we're below, and we're about to death cross, showing me like if we break this 126, I turn on my moving averages and I say, well, where can it go to? And then I turn on like the 50, 100, and 150. And right now we're squeezing. If we don't break the moving average of 152 to 163 over the next month or two, Solana could potentially fall back down to, let's just say, the 111 level, like back to the moving average and back to these lows right here. That's what I see. So now that I'm looking at that and we dig deeper, it starts to get a little crazy. That's why I don't keep it on. Yes, we're at support of this 127. But once again, we could go back up to these moving averages of 164 to potentially 185. That's what I'm seeing. And that's where you might see resistance again. And then unfortunately, that makes another lower high. If it does something like this, we go back. Right, we do this, we go back, form a lower, the higher low, form a W pattern, and then we stop back here. Right, the same way it did the W pattern and did this and made a lower high. Now I think it makes another W pattern, right? We go up over the next, this is weeks, right? So next couple weeks to month, we go up and retest this level of the 172 to 185. Then we come down, if we form a higher low to the 129 to the 123 and form something like this, then I think we have potential to break this 180, potentially go to the 204 level. But once again, if we stop at 180 to 204 and form a lower high to this 241 to 257, that fuels this to break down. That fuels the longer time frame to break down, continuously break down, and continuously be oversold. Right now, what I'm seeing clear as day is, yeah, we're oversold, but the RSI could come back up and retest the moving average and form another lower high. See that? Right? And if we come back up and retest and form another lower high, think of it like chess, right? So if this happens, what could happen thereafter? It's literally like chess. We could come back down and stay in this pattern. Right, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then if we're in section B, well, once again, everything I tell you is backed up with data, right? I want you to just double click and look what happened when I circled here. I know what happened. When the weekly and the longer and the monthly time frames enter certain sections and do certain confirmations, it confirms bull and bear markets. We broke down right here. We broke the moving averages, which is where we're like consolidating right now. And Solana went from $63 to $9. And I was telling my channel to buy Solana at $9 to $15, while the news was telling you it was a piece of crap, let's just say. So once again, break below, we went from 63 to 9 down 83%. And guess what? I'll end it with this because I spoke about this for a long time and I still have to go over a lot. As long as it makes a higher low to 775 and maybe stops at the 32 to potentially $50 level, it's still bullish. The last low was $1. The last high was 220, 257. Then we came down to 8 and we went back up to 292. If we come back down to 50, it's forming like a nice ascending triangle and we'll break this level of 226 to 250 and eventually make a way higher high in the next 4-year cycle somewhere up here. So Ethereum, same thing, right? Ethereum, what am I looking for? I'm looking at the longer time frames first to see if we're in a golden cross, death cross, are we above, are we below? Right now, it needs to prove itself. It needs to prove itself and stay above 2600 level, because if we don't, then we have potential to come back down to the 1678, right? Stochastic is coming down. The only thing that's giving me hope right now is this RSI is forming something of a bullish structure, and the structure here, the candles are forming something bullish. If it closes here, we got 27 days left to see what happens, right? But we had a low here, a lower low, and a higher low. So if we continue to stay above here, this is your neckline. This is your neckline here, right? And Ethereum is making an inverse head and shoulders, which potentially could go back to the neckline over the next couple of months if it stays here. Then you're looking at a retest of the 4,500 to 5,000. Now, the first thing I want to see is, does this remain? You can see Ethereum is following this trend right here, which I don't necessarily like, but there is room to remain in it. And this is considered a fake out right here, okay? So when you have a little blip above and you come back down, I've said this many times, and leave it in the comment section if it's stuck with you finally, but if you have a trend and a trend line, and you have a breakout, whether up or down, if the price comes back into the trend, which is this rising wedge, it will use the other line as the present line. So we can see we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then this was resistance once, twice, 3 times. I could probably bring it down a little bit too, right? Like there. So like 1, 2, 3, 4 touch points. And we went back up to touch it. So as of right now, Ethereum, once again, needs to break the 20 level on the stochastic, needs to break the 50, and needs to have a golden cross structure, and Ethereum could go back to, over the next couple of months, I'd say 3,500 to 3,900. The reason why I say that is I'm looking for levels that have been touched many times in the past, right? And what sticks out like a sore thumb is this level here. Is like we stopped here, we stopped here, we stopped here, right? Then we used it as support here. So I'm going to assume that we go up to this level of this 3,600, we stop. And then if we remain bullish, we come back down, form a higher low once again, and we form that W pattern, which eventually breaks the 35 to 3,800, potentially goes to these levels here, 3,976. That's what I see. As of right now, though, unfortunately, you are close to resistance. You have about 11 to 17%, and then I'd see what happens there. So for short term, over the next couple of weeks, you're looking at 10 to 15% back to these levels, then a consolidation, a higher low to the 2,600, then a push back to the 35, 3,600, and maybe a push to the 4,000. Once again, if we come back to the 4,000 and don't form a higher high to the 5,000, then that fuels like a double top theory. And then we could come back down to this like 1,600 level, closer to like mid to end 2026, right? Because I see this, I see this, I see this. If we come back, form a lower high, that's a double top, which shows us that we could eventually break and come back down to this 26 to eventually 2,100. But that means that we would break this support again, showing us that we could have massive blood to the downside. But that hasn't happened yet, right? I'm just playing chess at this point. As of right now, the move that I'm making is a move to the upside to the 35 to the 3,600. Then a higher low, and then a move to the upside to 4,000, close to like February, March, and then we'll see what happens then. All right, so that one's done. ETH, Bitcoin, perfect. That's why I wanted to do that. So there is another chart that I will post, and it is your coin versus Bitcoin. You always want your coin to be going up versus Bitcoin and have the bullish confirmations. What are they? Once again, golden cross structure, most bullish above the 0. RSI golden cross structure, most bullish above the 50. Stochastic golden cross, most bullish above the 50, right? I don't even have to show you Ethereum versus the dollar. I know that when this happened, we pumped, right? Because if Bitcoin is going up, you want your alt to gain momentum and market share of the asset that's going up, because that means that your coin versus the dollar is going up. Parabolic. If Bitcoin is going up, but your asset versus Bitcoin is going down, unfortunately, you're losing market share versus the asset that matters, and your coin stays flat. This also happens if the vice versa happens, and if Bitcoin's going down, but your coin versus Bitcoin's going up. Yeah, you're gaining market share versus the one that matters, but its value is going down, so your coin stays flat. If your coin versus Bitcoin's going down and Bitcoin's going down, well, that means you're going down a lot versus the dollar. So what you're looking for is, once again, bullish structure, which is a golden cross. Unfortunately, we're below the 0 line, showing us that we're not breaking the previous highs until we break the 0 line, and we're going to have a hard time breaking the moving averages until we break the 50 line on the RSI. But we do see a golden cross above the moving average and your stochastic, not only above the 50, but above the 80, showing us that as long as we stay above these levels and we consolidate within the moving averages, this is called a apex moment. You can see it come up right here. It stays around the moving averages, and then eventually, once you have the confirmation, and the confirmation, you break the moving averages, you break the swing high, and you go parabolic. And when this happened last time, this was December 2020 to, let's just say, January 2021. The new year comes in. Let's go to Ethereum versus the dollar, and it was ding, ding, ding right here. We went from 395 to let's just say 700 to 4,700 and went up 500%. So, turn this off. We're still forming this ascending triangle, in my opinion. Ascending triangle has two resistance levels of 4,008 to 4,755. And we are now forming this inverse head and shoulders. The inverse head and shoulders has resistance right here. And we would have, right, it would look like something like that. I'm curious. Well, we'll see if that happens, right? We'll see if 8 to 10,000 Ethereum plays out. To confluence that, I'd love to go fib levels from the bottom, from the top to the bottom. All right, I go from the top to the bottom of this candle here. Your next level is going to be 6,000 and then potentially 7,000. 1.618 is 7,327. I could see that would be a cool 50%, 86%, 129%. Once again, the only way this plays out is if this doesn't death cross and goes back up. RSI breaks above the moving average, goes back up. Stochastic starts forming a bottom around the 50, goes back up. Your Ethereum versus Bitcoin remains in golden cross structures, but eventually breaks to 0 on the MACD, eventually breaks to 50 and remains above not only the 80 but above the 50. You could see it break the 80 if it eventually gets overbought, but coming back to the 50 and staying above. Once again, still making higher lows, but consolidations within the bigger waves. So once again, you can set an alert at the 0, you could set an alert at the 51, you could set an alert at the 80, and you could set an alert at the 50, and then see what the hell's going on. And then you zoom into the weekly to see, well, do we break the 20 line and eventually break the 50? Yes, we're above the 50 line, so showing me we are staying above the moving average, and eventually we'll break back above the moving average. I want to see, do we have a golden cross above the 0 line? If that's the case, and we have a very high probability of retesting this high here and breaking it and continuing to the upside. ETH, hold it, just went over it. If you hold it, the first question, let's think about this, right? Not financial advice, cuzzy, but you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I've helped a lot of people hypothetically make money, and all they did was just follow me, right? And we did minimal trading. The first thing you need to ask yourself, and you need to do your own research, is do you believe in Ethereum? How long do you want to hold Ethereum? What are you planning to do with the money? Is this a long-term investment and you're considering to hold Ethereum as the next cryptocurrency and you're just gonna like buy things in Ethereum? Are you holding Ethereum because you believe it's gonna go to a certain price? Are you holding Ethereum because you were just told to buy Ethereum and now you're break even and you feel lied to and you want to get out at any given point? Is this for your kids? Like, are you holding this for the next 20, 30 years? Is this trading? Like, is there leverage involved? How long have you been holding? Has it been over a year where if it goes up, you're paying minimal short-term, long-term tax, capital gains tax, or did you just purchase it a couple months ago? Like, there's so many questions that I need to discover in order to give you the right answers. But if you're break even right now, and this is what I'm thinking, right, based off of your comment, which once again also is tainted based off of what mindset I'm in, but based off of how I read it, which is what I mean by that is like when you read a text the way you read it is based off of how you feel at that moment. So the way that I'm getting the vibe from this is like I hold it, I'm not sure what to do, and I'm around break even. So it's like you don't want to go down. Um, Another question is like if we do go down and we do enter a bear market and you go negative, are you okay holding the asset for a year to a year and a half in order for the next halvening to happen in 2028? Do you know what the halvening is? Do you understand the 4 year cycles? Um, right? Like that. Do you have extra money to put in? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or is this it? Like you bought Ethereum thinking it was going to do something and it didn't, and you're around break even. So it's like, should you get out because you think we're entering a bear market, or are you looking for levels to take profit if it does have a dead cat bounce? So if it has a dead cat bounce and goes back to 36, 3800 and 4000, you know, maybe you sell half, you know? It depends. Like, do you need the money for something else? Once again, I have people that are looking to buy and hold Ethereum for years, and they're looking to add to that position during the bear market. I have people that are just looking to buy an asset, excuse me, just because they know there's meat on the bone and there's a play, and they don't care about any type of news circulating around the asset. So, like, yes, I do think the market has a dead cat bounce. If you don't care about Ethereum, you're just trying to make some money and it goes to 3,900 to 4,800. Not financial advice, but once again, it's all about how much you're in the asset compared to how much you're in cash. So if you believe in crypto for the next 10, 20, 30 years, and you believe that this is literally still the beginning of mass adoption and what it really is capable of doing, during bear markets, I personally like to keep about 30 to 35% in the asset just in case some crazy news does play out and goes against the charts. During bull markets or like the ending of the bear market, I like to be more in the asset compared to in cash. I like to be almost 80% in crypto compared to in cash, like when I said 17.5, 15.5, 13.5, like I want to be in, baby, because there's so much room to grow. As of right now, there's room to grow on the short term. And once again, if we go back to like right now as your break even, right, that's 22% at 3,800. If it goes back to 4,000, let's just say you're looking at 30%. And then if it goes back to 4750, you're up, 50%. And this is where you need to ask yourself the question, once again, are you looking to just make money off Ethereum and get out of the asset? Are you looking to swing trade, Um, so a lot of different variable answers I could give you depending on more discovery. For the future reference, once again, anyone that wants to participate in this type of video, give me as much information as possible. You do not need to tell me how much you own of an asset to tell me what price you got in at. It could be a dollar purchase, could be a $10 purchase, could be $1 million purchase. I need to know what your goals are in order to give you a better analysis. But as of right now, if it just goes back to these levels, you're looking at 25 to 50%, and then once again above, take your profits on the way up. We went over ETH, we went over SOL. Let's go over SUI. Once again, I just made a video for Altcoin Buzz. Definitely check it out. There's room to grow. There's room to grow back to a lower high. That's the nutshell. And now I need to figure out a way how to explain that to you. So the lower highs are here, right? What I'm looking for is, let's delete everything because once again, I could do this with my eyes closed. So what I look for on longer time frames is I'm looking for major swings, right? I'm looking to tell people like, is this going to happen? Or is something like this going to happen where we come back up, we have a major move, but we have a hard time breaking the previous swing high, previous swing high, previous swing high. And that's what I think happens. The reason being is because the longer time frames just remain bearish, man. They really do. So once again, a ton of room to grow out of these alts. Even here is like 43 to 70%. Like that's a ridiculous dead cat bounce. But once again, you got to play it safe because we remain in section B on 3 indicators. So below the 0 line, below the 50 line, and below the 50 line on the 0 line on MACD, 50 line on RSI, 50 line on Stochastic. What that means, and the reason why I made the bot is, yeah, you're going to come back up. Think of the 11 and 21 days as a magnet. It's going to gravitationally pull that shit back to it, like here, 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 here. But you don't see this. You don't see this until certain confirmations play out. What you'll see, and this is what I mean by systematically robotic trading or charting, emotionless, understanding that regardless of what someone says, right? If a channel has 2 million subscribers and they are talking about how SUY or however you pronounce, I like saying the ticker because I say stuff wrong and I want to look like an idiot. SUY, that's the ticker, right? I'm not gonna say Cardano, it's ADA, that's the ticker. So if they come out with some bullishness like SUY's mainnet is doing an upgrade and they just added Abraham Lincoln to the team and aliens are gonna start using it, as long as the confirmations haven't played out. I know that the 11 and 21, the purple line is going to be used as resistance. And, once again, we're oversold. Can we go back up and use the moving average as resistance and have a huge pump? Of course. It also lines up with a key level, 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 a key level. So what I do is I say, okay, we're oversold. We could come back up. I'm not expecting it to do this. I'm expecting it to do what it's done in the past. And then you need to play chess thereafter. So do we come back up, use it as resistance? That's like the high probability play, right? Yes, we do that. Do we use it as resistance, come back down, form a higher low like this, right? Do we come back down, do something like this, and then it forms like an inverse head and shoulders like this, right? And then what we want to see, unfortunately, this is a weekly time frame. So these plays take weeks to months to play out. Wow. This was 28 days of just forming a bottom, right? This was 42 days of just forming a bottom. As of right now, it's still forming its bottom. Bro, I'm gonna. So what I mean by that is forming a bottom is forming some type of bullish structure, but below the moving averages. So right now, we could go back up and see resistance from $1.93 to $2.40. So the moving average is here. So what I do is I look left to see, once again, were there any spots that price-wise that were used as major levels in the past. Just a weird coinky dinky. You know what I'm saying? It's just a weird coincidence. And 17 years, I still find it mind-boggling that a price found resistance in 2024, February to March, from $1.68 to $1.99. See it, right? Right here. 1, 2. Why did it stop there? I don't know. It took how many months later? From February to October. We went down, came back up, went above it, and then came back down and used it as support. What are the odds? And then what are the odds that from October till December, we went from that 166 to 522 level, and then we came back down and retested that level again, months later. And then we went from here, came up, went down, came up, went down, and then we came back down. We saw a wick right to that level. And now we went extremely oversold, right? We went from the 450 all the way down to the 120, 130 level. And now we're using it as resistance. So I'm going to say we do something like this, we do something like this, we form that W pattern. Then we do something like this and we break the 172 and potentially head to the $2. Now, hopefully you see it. This does something like this. 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 We set alerts here and here to help us identify where the room to grow is. And then once we break this level and this level, which is a key level, I'm trying to give you visuals here, I think, once again, we have potential to go back to this level. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe around here. And once again, I line up with left. And what I see left is here, which was resistance, turned into support. And I looked left even further, and I see that it was used as resistance, came down, wick went right to it, came down to this level, came back up, wicks, not breaking this level, came back down to this level, went to this level, came back to this level of 246, back to lower highs. Like I said, broke this level, went to this level, wicks brought us back to the 250. Now we're here. And this is how you use technical analysis to help you identify what is going to potentially happen over the next couple weeks to months with the ticker SUI. I hope you've learned something from this video. 42 minutes in, cuzzy. I'm going to end it here. I'm going to make another video just because people have a hard time retaining what the hell's going on. I'm going to make another one on XRP, AMD. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So I'll make another. So this one was like 3 or 4, right? And the next video will be 3 or 4. I don't want to go over 45 minutes to an hour. YouTube hates that. So enjoy. Love you. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, next video will come. If you're looking to, I don't know, learn more about this, I have been doing one-on-ones with people. Unfortunately, I'm from New York, so it has to be at nighttime, like 9, 10 o'clock at night Eastern. And I go into confirmations, I go over the chart, I go over what tickers you want, I go over what topic you want, because each one-on-one is different depending on your knowledge of technical analysis and what your goal of the one-on-one is. Once again, are you looking to learn how to just be a regular buy here, take profit here? You know, that simple. Or are you looking to day trade? Are you looking to swing trade, etc., etc.? Enjoy the day. Love you. If you appreciate these videos, do me a favor, just like the video. If you know anyone that could actually learn something from this, share it. That would be the best thing. Love you. Enjoy the day.